Hey guys, so it's me, tongue-tied. It's me, G2, with Caldwell Banker Residential Brokerage here in Phoenix, Arizona. And yes, I'm sitting in my car. And no, I am not driving, but just went and had to pick up one of my writers from one of our properties, and thought, as I've been driving along, my brain keeps moving at lightning speed over questions that I continue to field from agents and clients about what's happened to the real estate transaction and why it seems like there's more collection of data and how detailed it has to be. And, truth be told, the lending piece really isn't all that different than it's been in the past. What's different is the amount of scrutiny of each of the items that have always been collected that didn't get quite the level of scrutiny that they do today undergo. So for example, in the past, a borrower might have had to turn in his bank statements and his tax returns, and we were off to the races. However, today, borrowers need to explain large deposits, large withdrawals, movement of money from one place to another. And those become probably very annoying to some of the buyers. But what I wanted to touch on today was my belief that real estate agents, a lot of them, hopefully not most, but certainly a lot, don't really understand the level of involvement that we have to have in the transaction today. Now, we've always been involved in our transactions. Any good agent did not follow the tenets of what they learned in school, which was find a buyer, find a lender, hand the buyer off to the lender, and go out and find another buyer. In the old days, that you could probably get by with that, but truth be told, if you really wanted to make a good name for yourself in the business, you had to be more hands-on than that. And for 30 years, my wife Lori and I have done just that. Buyer comes in, we court them, we counsel them, we have our buyer counseling session with them before they hit the road. We sign the agency disclosure, we get all of that out of the way, and then we're off to find a house. And prior to that, they've already been in touch with a lender, hopefully a lender that we know and trust. And then we make the offer. But even for lenders that we trust and know, we don't just stop communicating. We communicate regularly, and that's really been the bellwether of our success. I mean, we're among the top 2% of the agents here in the Valley for last year. But I wanted to touch on something now. I mentioned that this is going to be 15 episodes regarding TRID, and you would wonder, how the hell can you have 15 episodes of TRID? It's only got 4 letters in it. Well, it may, but it's also a pretty complex process, believe it or not. And so what we did, my wife and I, is we created what we lovingly call our TRID checklist. And we set up our checklist. I'm going to show you a copy of it here in a minute. We set our TRID checklist up with milestone dates that need to be we need to pay attention to so that the transaction moves along quickly. And so this is our TRID checklist. So you probably can't see it real good, but if you want one, just send me a tweet at G2 Realtor. It's at G2 Realtor on Twitter. Just tweet me that and say I would like a copy of your TRID checklist, and I'll be happy to send it out to you. But here's the thing that agents don't get. So in this particular transaction, the contract date, the date we actually went to contract, was on December 31st last year. And then from there, we spin out all the other dates. Now, the lender is supposed to get the loan estimate out to the buyer 3 days after the lender's collected 6 elements of information that, by CFPB definition, constitutes the application. I went over that yesterday. I'm not going to go over it again today, but so watch yesterday. You can watch my scope from yesterday on Catch, katch.me/G2 Realtor, and you can catch up on that. But from that first date, and assuming that the lender has all 6 elements, we're able to then map out where these timelines need to fall. And that's something that real estate agents need to understand. They need to be doing this, and they don't, which is really frustrating. I'll give you an example. So this one, the closing date that was written into the contract is February 26th. That's the closing date. The signing date by an Arizona contract has to be 3 days before that. So that would be the 23rd of February. So COE on the 26th, closing date on the 23rd. And so we have a little line item for that right here. But the buyer, and we know this, those of us paying attention to TRID, the buyer can't sign his loan documents on the 23rd unless he's received the CD, the closing disclosure, 3 days before that. So that means that he has to have that closing disclosure by the 18th. Now, the idea behind the closing disclosure is that's supposed to be the no kidding, this is what you're going to spend when you come to the closing table document. No surprises. Some lenders are sending out the closing disclosure, the CD, to the buyer before it's ever balanced, before title ever takes a look at it. That's weird. That's actually wrong. Because when the buyer does get to the title company, the numbers have changed. Now, if they've changed too much, lenders are finding themselves writing checks to cover that difference because there's a compliance issue. So again, these are things that we track, we pay attention to on our team. So I'm looking to see if that CD got out to the buyer, whether it's our buyer or our listing, somebody that bought one of our listings. And then we're also looking, and this is what agents should be doing, they should also be monitoring the balancing of that CD. So if it's supposed to get to the buyer, into the buyer's hands on the 18th, in this case, it actually had to get to title by the 16th. That gives the title company a couple of days to balance the CD. What we're hearing from title companies across the state here is that it used to take them an hour or two maybe to balance and be able to get funding squared away. Now it's taking them 4, 5, 6, sometimes 8 hours to get balanced and get funding moving. So we're saying that we want to see the CDs at title 2 days before. So here's a scenario. Our closing date is set for the 26th of February. We want to see that CD at title by the 16th, 10 days earlier. Even though we're not going to close, with new laws, that has to be put out there like that. And then what we do, see here, this is a checklist of all the different actions that have to take place. I know you can't really see that. Sorry about that. There you go. That's probably not good either. Anyway, of all the different actions that take place. For example, we need to turn the file into the office. So did all the signatures on all the pages get verified? We all know, real estate agents, a signature or an initial gets missed. So we review that. And if we miss something, we need to go back and get it squared away. Hello, in chorus. Thanks for joining. I'm a real estate agent here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm parked just outside, where is this? I think it's Burger King. But I'm parked outside because this was weighing on my head and I had to get it out. Thanks for the screenshot. Yes, that is me. I really dress like this here in Phoenix, Arizona. And thanks for the hearts as well. And our checklist goes on. Are all the contract and addenda accounted for? So we're going to send this package into the office. Did the seller provide the seller's property disclosure statement, and has it got out to the buyer, and has it been sent back? The letter of experience. Hello, Wild Wild West. Thanks for joining. I'm a real estate agent here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I am doing just a little bit of. Hi there. I'm doing just a little bit of tutorial education about the TRID process. TRID is TILA, RESPA, Integrated Disclosure. It's part of the new laws that buyers have to pay attention to when they're getting their mortgages, and lenders have to pay attention to. So, again, as we go through these different steps, these are very important steps that the realtors have to pay attention to, and a lot of agents don't understand that yet. We as real estate agents have to know if the loan estimate got delivered to the buyer on time. We need to know that. And if we aren't asking that question, you'll never know if the figures on the loan estimate were right. I had one just this morning. The LE went out, loan estimate LE went out, and the earnest money that was accounted for was incorrect, and it showed the buyer coming into the closing with $1,500 more than he needed to come into, because we had it accounted for in the down payment or earnest money already at the title company. But the LE got to the buyer, and the buyer panicked, thinking, oh no, how am I going to come up with an extra $1,500? You know, if the agents don't see these LEs, we're not going to be able to help the buyers through the process. We need to be involved. And then we need to know if the buyer signed the intent to proceed, or if he gave the lender an intent to proceed authority. The lender can't even order the appraisal until the buyer has said, yeah, I'm good with what you sent me. So it's really important that real estate agents get involved, more involved than they've ever been involved before in their transactions. It's essential. Thanks for the hearts again. Really appreciate it. Hello, Wild Wild West again. Real estate agents cannot sit on the sideline expecting the lender to do everything that they're supposed to do. It's still too new of a process. To be honest, I do not understand what half of you're saying. All right. So I'm a real estate agent in Phoenix, Arizona. And on October 3rd of last year, new borrowing laws, lending laws went into effect. And the baseline of that is an acronym called TRID, T-R-I-D. It's the TILA RESPA Integrated Disclosure. So if you're a buyer, by the way, this scope really is for buyers and sellers of real estate in the United States. That's where this is applicable. If you're watching from another country, it's probably as boring as watching a snail go backwards in a winter blizzard. But if you're a buyer or a prospective buyer looking to buy or sell homes in the United States, these laws went into effect, and they are federal laws. They're not something you can just get around and move to a different state. Thanks again for all the hearts. So the reason I'm doing this scope, and I'll be doing several other scopes about TRID, is to help people in my industry, the real estate industry and the lending industry, understand that real estate agents need to be more involved in the process. I'm also the Arizona State Director for the Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals, VA Rep, and I had a transaction just recently where one of my veterans was mistreated by a lender. Gave our client some very bad information, made him sign a waiver to be allowed to receive a copy of his appraisal, and put that document in front of our vet with wording that sounded like a threat if he didn't sign it. Have a nice day. You too, man. Thank you very much. And thanks for the compliments on the hat. So anyway, my point is real estate agents need to be involved. And I get there's only 2 or 3 people watching this scope. There will be more people that come back around on the replay. because I'll tweet this out and send you off over to my catch site. But please, if you're a real estate agent, break out the real estate, break out the CFPB handbook. It's a 98-page book about the preparation of the loan estimate. Read through it just so you understand what it is, so you understand it, because truth be told, buyers and sellers call us for answers to questions that they have. Even though the question may originate at title, may originate in the lending arena, they always call the real estate agent first. They just do. Been doing this for 30 years. That's what happens. You absolutely need to understand what these new laws, what these new forms mean to your client so that you can give them some better counsel about who to go to get it fixed, who to go to. Did the lender make a mistake? Did the title company give them some bad figures? The consumer's not going to know that. We'll know it intuitively, and we'll know, no, we're not going to tell them it's right or wrong. We're going to say, hey, this looks like it needs to be addressed by the lender or the title company, and that's our job. We review it, we see that it passes muster, and if it does, then you can send the buyer back to the lender and say, listen, I think I understand all this stuff. Please verify what I think I know. You can send them to the title company. I think I understand this stuff. Please tell me what I know. If it's really hair-raisingly stupid, big errors, we know that, and we can say, get back to the lender and ask them about this number. Get back to the title company, ask them about that number. That's what we're supposed to do. We're the custodians of comfort. That's what we do. So again, I was out driving around picking up a sign. I had to stop off at a title company. Then I grabbed a quick burger from In-N-Out. It's not In-N-Out, it's Burger King. And while I was here, I thought, well, why not fire off a scope? And that's what I did. Again, I'm G2 Verado. My wife is Lori Glendale. We're real estate agents here in Phoenix, Arizona. You can reach me on Twitter at G2 Realtor, and you reach my wife on Twitter at YRURenting. And of course, you can also email me at G2, that's G, the number 2, Realtor, at gmail.com. Again, if you want a copy of the TRID checklist, just tweet me. I'll be happy to send you one. You guys have a great day. Talk to you soon. I'll do another one of these when I'm not parked in my car. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. And thanks for coming in, Mr. Nobody. Hi, Mr. Nobody. I'm just getting ready to sign off, but you can watch the replay. And if you're a consumer here in America, a buyer or a seller of real estate, you'll probably find this somewhat interesting, probably more confusing. And I'll try to smooth out the presentation here so that it makes more sense to individuals. This scope was really for people in the industry. So again, thanks for watching. G2 here in Phoenix, Arizona. Have a great day.